a slightly unplanned, very, very rushed, um, not really like prepared at all reaction to the news that Liverpool have actually finally bidded for Alexander Isak. First things first, big shout out to my brother who made me aware of the situation. So I was happily sorting out my geek room. Those of you that subscribe know that I'm into toys and comic books and this, that, and the other. So I thought, oh, I'll have a good sort out because I bought a load of new toys today. So bedroom's in absolute chaos. Happily ploughing away, and then all of a sudden I get this text message basically saying that we've bid for Alexander Isak. So very absolute chaos, trying to find out what's going on. My laptop is probably about to die with the news as well. I've prepared absolutely nothing, so just bear with me basically. I'll just read you what's happened so far. David Ornstein, obviously on his Twitter feed, I'm literally just reading this from the computer. Newcastle reject official bid from Liverpool for Alexander Isak. Initial approach informal, now firm. LFC offer and turned down. NUFC suggested new deal with 2026 release clause plus senior teammates pushed 25-year-old stay, but he wants the move. Right? Okay, so we've had that. Romano, I don't know if it was sorry, I'm literally just reading what's going on Twitter at the minute. I don't know if Romano was before or after Ornstein, but he's put Liverpool opening bid for Alexander Isak was worth £120 million package plus add-ons. Newcastle rejected as they won't open doors at least until finding a replacement, and it's not guaranteed at this stage. Isak insists with Newcastle on his clear desire to join Liverpool. I'm just going on transfers as well. Sky Sports Transfer Centre. Let's have a look. Yeah, so 40 minutes ago, so this is Sky Sports News. Newcastle United have rejected an official bid from Liverpool for Alexander Isak. Sky Sports News understands Liverpool's bid was 110 million plus add-ons. However, the total offer did not reach 120 million. Newcastle do not want to sell and value Isak at 150 million. Read more here. And then you've got just have a look before my battery runs out. Sorry, because I'm totally unprepared for this. Here we go. This is from the BBC. Oh, hi mate. Newcastle rejects opening bid for Alexander Isak. BBC Sport can confirm Newcastle United have rejected an opening offer from Liverpool for striker Alexander Isak. So let me just grab a laptop so I couldn't do it at the same time. The Magpies value the Sweden international at about 150 million, with the Reds' offer falling below that figure. There has been no confirmation as to the level of Liverpool's bid. Isak was left out of the Newcastle squad. Thanks. Cheers. Hi, how you doing? Let me just have a look. There's been no confirmation as to the Liverpool bid. Isak was left out of the Newcastle squad for their pre-season tour of Asia as he wants to explore a move away. The bid from Liverpool has been lodged while Isak trains alone at former club Real Sociedad amid continued uncertainty around his transfer. Right, there we go. Right, first things first. Let's have a look. Hello Ziva, you alright? Thanks for supporting the channel. Cheers. And thank you, WVDR. Right. What do we make of that then? So basically, long story short, my laptop's completely dead now, so I can't give you any more news while I'm on here. So I don't know if anything else will happen. But basically, long story short, Liverpool appear to have bid around 110 million for Alexander Isak. This is just off the top of my head, with 10 million or so on add-ons, but they said there's a couple of people that have said it doesn't quite reach 120 million, so presumably we've offered 8 million in add-ons. Newcastle definitely do not want to sell at all, but their actual asking price, if they were forced into sell, is 150 million pounds. So Isak basically, to keep the walls from the door with Newcastle, Newcastle look as if they have offered Isak a new contract to keep him for this year, but with a release clause for next year. Now, what that release clause is, God alone only knows, but to sweeten the deal, and presumably if Liverpool made to wait a year, you would assume the release clause would not be 150 million. It's probably going to be more like, I don't know, 130 million, bearing in mind he'd be a year older, and this, that, and the other. Also, there's loads of teammates pushing Isak to stay. What pushing to stay means, I don't know. Perhaps Alan Shearer's been on the blower and has voiced his displeasure with Alexander Isak, and he's uh, hastily reconsidering what he's done. Isak at the minute is definitely at Real Sociedad training on his own, but apparently he does not have a problem with Newcastle United. Here's my slight problem with that, even though I'm a Liverpool fan. If you've not got a problem with it, fella, why on earth you like training alone? I mean, look, this is the game of football transfers at the end of the day. Isak obviously wants to move. He's been linked with Man United and Chelsea and Al Hilal and random football clubs like that. But obviously, look, it's quite obvious he wants to join Liverpool Football Club. I mean, I don't really blame. I don't mean this arrogantly at all. Look, at the end of the day, I'm quite humble of Liverpool and everything. But like, obviously, at the moment, we are one of the best teams in the world. I mean, Isaac's options for basically being super successful, again, really humbly, are us, probably Real Madrid, Barcelona, Paris Saint-Germain, Man City, maybe in a couple of years Chelsea. That's basically it. If he wants to be like super successful in his career, yeah, no, it's just it's taken me really by surprise actually, because look, I think we all knew the bid was coming, but oh, hi Christos, how you doing? Yeah, I think we all knew the bid was coming, but like it just sort of really threw me off this morning. Like I said, I was literally redesigning my well, I'll call it my studio. It's actually an upstairs bedroom, but we'll call it a studio. With a load of new toys, a load of new action figures, comic books, blah 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 blah. And all of a sudden I get this random message from my brother saying we've bid for Isak. So I had a look and there it is, there's an actual bid. Now, going forward, obviously I haven't mentioned this, Newcastle have actually rejected the bid, basically. So but that is just the opening bid. It's going to be basically like a little bit of a song and dance. Look, I would suspect Liverpool, for obvious reasons, do not wish to pay 150 million quid to make Alexander Isak the third most expensive transfer of all time. I think it's in. What was it? Was it Mbappe about 160 and Neymar was 200, 210? I forget now, but like I doubt very much whether Mr. Henry, having splashed out 290 million quid, even though we've recouped 130, is going to be too thrilled about paying 150 million quid for a striker who his injury record's got slightly better, but let's have it right, it's not the most impressive injury record that I've ever seen at the same time either. So I think that'll be Liverpool's. Obviously, it's Liverpool's initial bid. I would imagine. I think they'll want to get him for about the same price as Florian Wirtz. So I think we ended up paying about 125 million quid. They might go to 130. I suspect they will not want to go anywhere near 150. One, because it sends out the wrong message that people can take the piss out of Liverpool and stuff. And the other thing is that we have to be a bit careful of PSR because that's a huge outlay. So obviously we've recouped 130, so net spend I think is 160 something on the lines. Obviously, this added to the net spend would make like pushing. If it was 150, it would make pushing 300 million quid. Now, at that point, I'm sorry, but whatever you think of him, Darwin Núñez, and it's not a discussion about his ability, he would have to go. we would have to recoup some form of money. So Nunes and Chiesa, I mean, perhaps this is the thing. You don't know if it's going to set off a domino reaction. So maybe soon, if Isak joins, perhaps basically Chiesa and Nunes already have moves lined up. Perhaps Ben Doak has something, and once Liverpool know they've got Isak, then they will release those three players. Maybe I don't know. And perhaps even you throw Harvey Elliott into the mix, maybe. But I mean, those four players alone. If it was 130 million, if you were to sell, for example, Doak, Elliott, Chiesa, and Nunes, bearing in mind you've now got Trainioni and Rio Ingamoa who have taken two of the spots you would have thought in the squad, and obviously we've got 3 or 4 new players. I mean, Nunes, you're going to get at least 50 Ks. You would imagine Liverpool want to get at least 20 to make a pure profit. Harvey Elliott, 45-50 million quid, so that's 120-25. If you throw in Dope, maybe someone pays 120, but I mean, you could be in the realms of Liverpool could actually get all these players and basically end up having spent, despite the fact they've spent 400 million, end up having only spent 80-90 million net, which would be completely insane. Or maybe we're in such a good position there it's going to say, do you know what, we're going to live fat and large and we are going to keep all these players and we're going to have 2 super teams, one team 1, one team 2, maybe. I wouldn't have thought so, to be honest. So what happens now, honestly, I have absolutely no idea. Liverpool obviously go back to the drawing board, so they would have had contact with Newcastle. Newcastle would have said, look, we can't officially say that we will sell him. However, if we got X, Y, and Z amount, then that is what we would theoretically sell him for. So I would assume Liverpool, if they're really serious about Isak, will come back with a bid at latest over the weekend. I'd be very, very surprised if there's not a bid before the Bilbao game. But by the way, cheap self plug, I'm actually going to do the Athletic Bilbao match on Monday, unless of course it is rained off by the storms, which my family informed me about this morning, which I'm not really best pleased about, to be honest, but you can't stop storms, unfortunately. So yeah, I'll be at Anfield on Monday. But yeah, I would imagine Liverpool will be looking at bidding at least before the Bilbao game. I wouldn't be surprised if there's another bid today. I wouldn't be surprised if there's maybe a third bid on Saturday. I think if they're going to get Isak, Newcastle are going to make this as difficult as possible. The other thing that I was quickly going to mention was that makes it slightly difficult is Newcastle needs a replacement. Enter Manchester United. And you might think to yourself, what on earth has Manchester United got to do with this? Well, rather annoyingly, despite the fact they've got Mbeumo and Cunha and are in negotiation for Ollie Watkins, they have now decided to enter the race for Benjamin Sesko. What does that have to do with Liverpool? Well, Newcastle United, to replace Alexander Isak, theoretically, because they've not contacted him, of course, basically are looking at Benjamin Sesko as a replacement for Alexander Isak, allegedly. Now, if he goes to Manchester United, Newcastle, I would have thought, will immediately say, well, we haven't got time for a replacement, so you're staying here, lad. Simple as that. Unless Newcastle are going to go for someone else. I don't know, but they seem to have the heart set on Sesko. I mean, quite why, other than money, obviously, which is the main thing, why Benjamin Sesko would choose willingly to join Manchester United when he has Newcastle United. I know that might sound a bit strange to the older people. Why on earth he would choose Manchester United at the moment with what's going on at that football club over Newcastle United, who have just won the League Cup, are in the Champions League, and let's be honest, have put it this way, if you put Newcastle's first team on paper with Manchester United's first team, how many Manchester United players get into Newcastle's starting 11? Oh, wait. Basically, I mean, you could make an argument that a push for Bruno Fernandes, and maybe, I know he's not played for them yet, but maybe Matthias Cunha. I mean, that's it, basically. So yeah, why on earth? So I'm going a bit round the houses here, but why on earth Benjamin Sesko, other than money, would choose willingly to go to Manchester United over Newcastle is beyond me. And also, the gentleman said that he wanted Champions League football, so that just shows the power of money. Anyway, long and short is that might be the thing that also gets in Liverpool's way if they can't sign Benjamin Sesko. Now, if they can sign Sesko, obviously with Newcastle's PSR situation, they would then have to sell Isak or some players. Now, I do wonder whether Liverpool are playing 4D chess with this a little bit. Maybe they are hoping that Newcastle splash the cash on. I mean, obviously they've already signed Anthony Elanga as well. Perhaps they are hoping that Newcastle will spend, I don't know, 80, 90 mid on Sesko and suddenly think to themselves, crap, we have got a really serious problem with our PSR now. We now have to let Isak go for not 150, but like, oh, Liverpool are offering 127 million. Fine, we'll just take it, basically. So maybe that's what the Reds are doing. I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's just really weird. Like I said, this this will be out as a video later. If no one wants to do live comments and stuff, but just let me know what you guys think in the comments about what is going on. I mean, the other thing that's popped into my head, and this, I suppose it's not really important, but it's probably important in terms of the result and the atmosphere. Our second match of the season. Now, this is either way if Isak stays or if he goes to Liverpool, is Newcastle United at St James's Park. So you have two scenarios here, or probably three scenarios. If Alexander Isak plays in that match in a red shirt, I wouldn't go as far as he's going to need a police escort because he did win Newcastle their first ever trophy, basically, not far off single-handedly. If he's playing for Newcastle against Liverpool and that release clause is valid for next year, he is going to want to score between a hat-trick and 6 goals against us. It's as simple as that. Your other option is, as well, would Eddie Howe play Alexander Isak in the match against Liverpool, or would he leave him out the squad to save face? I mean, the other thing as well is Alexander Isak is theoretically he's actually refused to play for Newcastle United and refused to train. Which I've got to be honest, like Reds, I know we all want Alexander Isak. Look, I'm not going to lie, I would very much like Alexander Isak. I do find the behaviour of himself and his agents to be slightly unethical. And before anyone says that's how real life works, blah, 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 I'm fully aware of how real life works, and I completely understand that. I know the game, and like I knew about these sort of things going on in the mid-90s. I know that's how football really works, and I do understand that. But at the same time, call a spade, it ain't cool. It's simple as that. So, and my only concern with Isak is, I mean, I've got two concerns. One is the injuries, but you'd like to hope with our hopefully our medical team thoroughly looked into this, that, and the other. The other thing I'm concerned about is if Alexander Isak refuses to train with Newcastle United, and let's say he signs a 3-year deal to keep his options open with us, what happens when Real Madrid come calling when he's 27? Because don't get me wrong, Real Madrid will take a 27, 28-year-old Alexander Isak, and it does make me wonder about. I know he's kind of got to do it, and this is the way that you have to force moves, because Newcastle obviously have to save face with their fans. Isak has to be painted as the villain, which obviously he is, and Newcastle have to make it look as if they've done their damnedest to keep him, despite whatever they might be asking Isak to do in the background. And I completely understand that, but like, obviously Isak and his agents will have devised a strategy at the same time to get themselves out of the contract with Newcastle United Football Club. I'm not questioning the man's character, but maybe his integrity is what I'm saying. So, but look, that's the game. That's how football works. We all know how football works, and like to suggest this doesn't go on with any transfer is complete nonsense. We all know that that's how transfers work. This is how football transfers have probably worked for the last 40, 50 years, just in different guises and forms. So yeah. Anyway, as it stands, we've had one bid rejected from Newcastle, but like I said, the interesting thing is they, according to David Ornstein, appear to have offered a clause to Isak whereby he basically can leave for a fixed fee in the 2000, what would it be, 2026-27 season, basically. A release clause would be an easy way of saying that. Sorry, I've just remembered what release clause is. But yeah, yeah, he would be able to have a release clause. Now, would Liverpool take the risk this season of just having Mo Salah, Cody Gakpo, Hugo Ekitike, Florian Wirtz, Jadon Danns, Rio Ingamoa, and possibly maybe keeping Federico Chiesa? I mean, look, I can't imagine there's going to be many people weeping in sorrow for us with that little list. So yeah, would they take the risk of just negotiating with Newcastle for this season, kind of like they did with Naby Keita, I suppose? If there's a release clause, because obviously they did this with Keita many years ago with RB Leipzig. So would Liverpool actually say, actually, I tell you what, right, we won't announce this out of respect to Newcastle and this, that, and the other. But theoretically, would Liverpool say, right, Alex, hold on for basically the next 9 months, and we will announce you next May for £20 million less? But the risk from Liverpool's point of view is if Alexander Isak goes through a load of injuries, obviously he's a year older. He would have presumably just played in the World Cup as well this time next year. Does he get injured there? Maybe, I don't know. But the point is, would losing 20 million quid from the fee be worth another year of toll on Alexander Isak's hamstrings? I guess is what you have to ask yourself. I mean, his injury record did seem to be slightly better than the other previous seasons he's been with Newcastle last year, but that, I mean, that's not saying too much really. But look, because I have no knowledge of maths and I'm not a bargain person. Well, I kind of am, but I'm not. I would just be inclined to just go up to Mr. Henry and say, John, look, we've already spent, mate, we've spent like 360 million quid. If you bang on Isak as well, you might as well just chuck in the extra 30. But like I said before, Liverpool have kind of got this reputation as hard negotiators now, especially with Richard Hughes, who obviously at the start we were all having a go at for no transfers, and obviously it looks like this has been a master plan all along. So fair play to Hughes and Michael Edwards, and I doubt very much whether they will be wanting to lose that reputation by just saying, oh yeah, here's an extra 30 million quid, crack on, lad. So yeah, I'm still not massively confident it will happen, but I'm a lot more confident it will happen now than I was before, because obviously this was all just speculation. I mean, there's an actual bid sat there now. I mean, if Newcastle want to, they could change their mind and sell him for that price. That is reality now. The other thing, just for a head off, that I was going to mention was, I'll be very interested to see what happens with Alexander Isak now himself. So obviously he, for the last hour and a half, has been made aware that Newcastle have rejected the bid. He's training with Real Sociedad. He's not on the tour. His teammates are having to speak about him and cover him, which when they're preparing for a new season, I doubt they're hugely impressed with, to be honest. I mean, again, putting myself in Newcastle and the Newcastle fan situation, I've got to be honest, to be fair to Newcastle and their fans, I would be thoroughly annoyed beyond words, because obviously Newcastle have started with new optimism. They've just won the League Cup by thoroughly outplaying us, and again, fair play to them. They were magnificent that day. They've signed Anthony Elanga. They've made a reasonably good start to the transfer window, and then all of a sudden they've come up against a brick wall, and then the whole Isak thing has dominated their whole pre-season. I've got to be honest, if I was a Newcastle fan, I would be furious beyond words. I would be absolutely livid, to be fair to them. But again, that's the nature of the game, I guess. I mean, if this was the other way around, would Newcastle have sympathy for Liverpool fans or anyone else in that situation? I would probably suggest not. But yeah, in terms of Isak, what does he do now? I mean, does he go on strike? If he goes on strike, then Newcastle obviously have got a very, 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 very big problem, because that's his next move. If Alexander Isak goes on strike, and they're all right for the minute because it's still pre-season. Obviously, the season does not start till 2 weeks today. Wow. Well, it was nice being champions for like 2 seconds. Yeah, so the season actually starts. It's actually us playing Bournemouth. I'll be doing live reactions for that as well, by the way. Another shameless plug. Yeah, no, if Isak does go on strike, if he goes on strike at the minute, Newcastle are all right because it's still in pre-season. If that drags into the season, that is the last thing that the players, staff, manager, fans, and definitely Eddie Howe will want. Like, Eddie Howe will want to be like training and playing his players. Like, so he will want a Benjamin Sesko in. He will want. I don't know who the hell else Newcastle can get, but Eddie Howe will want this resolved as quickly as humanly possible, because he wants to know what deck he's playing with at the end of the day. And if Alexander Isak goes on strike, that gives Newcastle a huge problem. Now, I'm not condoning if Alexander Isak does that, by the way, and I'll just be blatantly honest about that. It's not a cool thing to do, but again, that's the nature of the business, unfortunately. And if Newcastle have rejected the move, I would probably suggest that's probably going to be Alexander Isak's next course of action, to try and force the move. If that's the case, and there's fans now kicking off. I mean, I've just got a text message from one of my very best friends, Isla, basically a Newcastle United fan, and he's basically disowned him already. Like, he's basically said, "Look, I don't want him at the football club." And obviously you hear a lot of chatter online that Newcastle fans are not best pleased. And again, I do not blame Newcastle fans at all. I would be seething beyond words if this was the other way around. You would, if you're going to keep Isaac basically after that circumstance and force him to stay and then force him to play, you would then have to rehabilitate him with the squad. So you would have to punish him for a start off. You would imagine that they would leave him out for probably till after the international break, maybe at a guess. He goes away with Sweden. He's reintegrated after the international break. He's going to get booed out of the building the next time he plays at St James's. People will give him a round of applause, I suppose. But time heals all wounds. Obviously, if Alexander Isak then scored a hat-trick against, I don't know, Aston Villa or whoever Newcastle would be playing, obviously the Geordies would still be extremely annoyed, but they would forgive him. And then if Isak goes on a scoring run, then obviously he's going to be not forgiven, but people are very, very fickle when their football team is winning. So you would imagine maybe he's fully integrated back for Christmas, but then the whole rumours are going to start again in like January onwards, like to February, when Newcastle are going for all these trophies or whatever it is they're trying to do. Eddie, when do you think can you get Alexander Isak to sign? Where's Isak's head at? Blah 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 blah. And basically, I guess my overall point is, our Newcastle United Football Club, Eddie Howe, and the Saudi owners, are they really going to want that going on in the background, where they're trying to, well, theoretically, while Newcastle United are trying to make a challenge for a league title, which is what I'm assuming that is the next course of action for the Saudi owners and for Newcastle. I would probably suggest they could do without that, to be honest. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Anyway, folks, that was just my quick reaction to the Alexander Isak story. Like I said, if there's any further developments, providing I get my awful geek room sorted out, which is now an absolute stake. So I've had to chuck everything away to like do this live reaction. Yeah, I will of course let you know. One more shameless plug before I go. So those of you subscribers, you've heard me say this a million times before, but I will be at Anfield on Monday for Red Monday. I caveat that with I've just been told by a family member that Storm something or other is turning up in England on Sunday night, which is not helpful at all. Hi Bindu, you alright? How's it going? Thank you very much for subscribing, mate. I'm very, very grateful. Cheers, lad. Yeah, so there's actually been a random weather report in England that basically we've got some horrific storm that is going to like ravage the country with like gale force winds and stuff. Unfortunately, that storm is due to hit the early hours of Sunday morning, which is Monday morning, sorry. I am due to travel to Liverpool in the later hours of Monday morning to go to the Atletico Bilbao game. I can already see a bit of a fiasco happening here, and me basically being on the way to Liverpool and then finding out the game has been cancelled. So I'm just warning you guys that there is a storm. Obviously, as well, all you guys in England, just obviously keep yourself safe. And I know this sounds like a complete contradiction from what I've just said, but if you don't need to travel, don't travel. Unfortunately, I've already got hotels and match tickets and everything booked. So hopefully it will go ahead. I mean, the club hasn't released anything about it not going ahead. So hopefully I'll be with you live from Anfield at about 12:30 Monday afternoon, maybe 1 o'clock. So yeah, just to reiterate, I'm going to be doing a live stadium tour and mural tour outside the ground, obviously. Do you do song requests? Dude, have you heard my singing? No. Unless you want your ears bleeding, I will politely decline that offer. Yes, I've got a match day vlog. Obviously, I've got shorts of the goals. Someone has also just told me, one of my mates on Fred's, I've been saying I'm watching the 5 o'clock game. Please give me You'll Never Stand Alone. No. Yeah, so I've just been told by one of my mates on Fred's that apparently my ticket entitles me to the 8 o'clock game as well. So I was due to do a live reaction coming out of the ground at, what would it be, about 7 o'clock. But apparently my ticket might also cover me for the second game. I don't know if anyone else is going. I'm going to check into this as soon as I finish this. But is that right? If so, I've got to be honest, I'm extremely embarrassed beyond words because I just thought it was the 5 o'clock game. So I'm going to check in with the guy from Fred's. Guy from Fred's, if you're watching, by the way, thank you very much for letting me know. And if that is the case, I am hugely, hugely embarrassed because I thought it was just the 5 o'clock game. But as it turns out, I might actually be watching 3 hours worth of football now. So yeah. I'll let you guys know on that. Obviously, if the match goes ahead, I will do live reactions. If it's just the 5 o'clock, I'll be doing live reaction about 7 o'clock. If I've got access to both, then it'll be about 10 o'clock, and then there'll be a match day vlog and a travel vlog and loads of good stuff, blah, 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 blah. And so there'll be loads of stuff Monday night, well, basically from Monday afternoon to Monday night, and then there'll be some extra Liverpool content on not this Friday's in today, but the next Friday, basically, if you see what I mean. So, yeah, loads of cool stuff coming up. If you're a wrestling fan as well, before all this, for some inexplicable reason, I will be doing live reactions to both nights of SummerSlam. So SummerSlam weekend starts this weekend, which I'm very, very excited about. So yeah, just keep an eye on the channel. Loads of cool things to come, blah blah blah. Anyway, hey bro, what's your opinion about Liverpool signing in the window? I think they've been excellent. Yeah, no, Bindo, I think they've been absolutely excellent signings. So my concern, Bindu, is that we need to sign central defenders. Now I know I would get shouted at by everyone in the chat for saying this. I would prefer, if I was offered at gunpoint, would you prefer Alexander Isak or three really good centre backs? Um, I would rather not ask I would rather not answer that question for fear of being shouted at and chased with burning pitchforks. But I wouldn't be amiss to taking that deal. Let's just put it that way. But yeah, now obviously I hope we get Isak, but we desperately need centre backs, dude. I mean, at the moment, the thing I'm worried about is we've got Virgil van Dijk, best defender in the world. That's fine. We've got Ibu, who's got a year left on his contract. After that, we've got Joe Gomez, who has managed to get himself injured again. We've got Wataru Endo, who has played centre back for us and has played a lot of games at centre back, but obviously ostentatiously he's a central midfielder. And then we've got Ahmed Nallo and Lucas Stevenson, who have played like, I don't know, half of actual real football for Liverpool. I would very much like Mark Gahey, and like I really do think that we could do, if the money is like running out at that point, we could really do with a loan signing, to be honest. So I mean, I can't even think of anyone but like right, I know this is a bit random, but just off the top of my head, like Nicholas Otamendi, or obviously I know he played City and everything. That's a stupid thing to say, but I can't actually think of someone who would come on loan. But basically someone like that who has got who's got experience and stuff, just to like be a fifth or sixth option kind of thing. Because my worry is we're going to end up with the Fabinho and Henderson situation where both of them had to come out central midfield, and that was an unmitigated bloody disaster, to be honest. So yeah, Bindu, basically I think it's been really good, but we need central defenders ASAP. What's your prediction of FIFA 2026 World Cup? Oh, Ghana are going to win it. Yeah. No, I don't. No, I'm actually half Ghanaian, dude. So I'm hoping that in fact my shirt's somewhere behind me. It's covered up there. I would love to say that Ghana will be lifting the World Cup, but sadly that will not be happening. I I'm going to go with Spain, just because they seem to have the players at the minute. I'd probably, if they're in the second halves of the different halves of the draw, I'd go with a Spain-France final. Like, I don't see any two national sides that are any better than those guys at the minute. Maybe Argentina. I mean, I don't think it's going to come from any less than those three, basically. But yeah, I'm going to go with Spain. If not Ghana, obviously. Why Man U decline is motivational decline of winning formula. Oh, sorry, Peter. I don't get the. But do you mean as in Man United's decline? Like, is it motivating us? I mean, if that's what you mean, yeah. I mean, well, as a Liverpool fan of many years, I would love to win the 21st League title this year, so that I can once again say that we have the record Premier League overall. Because obviously we're tied with Man United. While they are rubbish, I would love to get 3 or 4 ahead of them. It would be absolutely brilliant. All those years of having the mick taken out of me, when Man United win those titles, I would absolutely love to be 5 or 6 ahead of them. Love it, mate. Has WWE become predictable? Oh, WWE stuff. Was WWE going to make a mistake or an advantage? From a selfish point of view, it's very advantageous for me, if I can say the word, because I now get WWE for free because I have a Netflix subscription. But yeah, no, I know what you mean, mate. See, I thought with it being on Netflix, I just thought it was going to be like there would be, I don't know, like millions and millions of people every single week. Like when you just relax and you go, oh, I used to watch WWE, and I just thought they'd get loads of random people who would come back into it, and they'd be getting like 10, 20 million people watching. By all accounts, it seems to be about what 3 million, 4 million. I mean, don't get me wrong, that's still really good. Because obviously everyone's streaming these days, but like back in the day when I was an Attitude Era fan, the most I ever saw watch Monday Night Raw at the same time, I might be wrong on this, correct me if I am, but I'm sure it was about 12 million people. like worldwide that were watching Raw. And I think on that same night there were like, I don't know, 6 or 7 million watching Nitro. So you're talking there was about 20 million people at the same time. Bearing in mind this was before streaming and we all just had normal TVs. There was about 20 million people watching wrestling, dude. So is it a mistake? Look, I can't say it's a mistake because I now get to watch it and I get to cover it on the channel, which has really helped me like also get subscribers. So I can't sit here and honestly say it's been bad, because I would come across as a huge hypocrite when it's kind of actually helping me. But I do get your point. The advert breaks are in England basically. I don't know about anyone else here, but with the advert breaks in England, a lot of the time with Raw and SmackDown, fortunately, you've got they seem to cut out the advert breaks sometimes, because I think we're on a slight delay in England. But like sometimes when you're watching, like it's like 4 or 5 minute adverts. I mean, it's all right for me because I'm on my phone doing stuff, but I just mute them. It's like I don't want to see 4 or 5 minute adverts. You know what I mean? So was it a mistake, dude? I wouldn't go as far as a mistake, but I think WWE may have just thought, oh, this is brilliant, the whole world is going to watch us down. I think they might have over-egged the pudding slightly in terms of the amount of interest, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Do you believe it was a mistake Cristiano coming back at Man United? Yes. I think because Man United at that point weren't horrendously too bad, but they had that influx of players who were just, there's a word I can't say, I'll leave it at that, but like totally just not good for a dressing room. I mean, you had like what, Rashford, Ronaldo, I'm trying to think of some more of the do you know what, I can't even remember now actually. Basically there were a lot of dressing room disruptors. Yeah, I just thought it was, I just thought it was very, very daft. I think Cristiano, in retrospect, would have been better off going to Man City, and that would have been hilarious for obvious reasons. But yeah, no, it was a mistake all round, basically. Oh, two more from Peter. Right, Peter, I will answer these for you, and then I should be heading off, but I will answer these for you, mate. Let's say Punk, Rawlins, Reigns, McIntyre leave WWE. Would WWE decline? Right, let me have a think about that. Punk would be a massive loss. I think Seth Rollins is one of the best wrestlers in the world. And I hate to say this, mate, I don't think in terms of global viewing it would be a disaster for WWE, let me put it that way. McIntyre, the world will keep on spinning. I mean, obviously, I love Drew McIntyre. I think he's great. They need to push him for a world title after all that lad's done. Now, Roman Reigns, they've got an interesting problem there because obviously this takes into account. So obviously Cena has gone. If they were to lose Roman, so let's say if Roman goes into acting now full time, and let's say for some reason Rhodes wants to hang it up in 2 or 3 years, they have got an interesting problem to be coming down the road because all these new wrestlers are actually, they're not old by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm old, I'm 45. But a lot of these wrestlers are like still like in the 30s, they're absolutely fine, but they have got a bit of a problem coming up in the next 5 or 6 years because like who's coming up after them? I know there's a huge amount of talent in WWE and in AEW, but like if I don't know, if you're going to look, well, put it this way: if you lost Punk, Cena, Reigns, and Rhodes, who's your face? And they've got a very big problem if they want Cody to turn heel, which I do think I would be very surprised if Cody Rhodes is not a heel by the time they get to WrestleMania. I think that's where it's headed. I don't know who the face is going to be. I was hoping it was going to be LA Knight, to be honest, but a certain Mr. Levesque has apparently not seen hugely keen on him. But there we go. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I mean, to be honest, Peter, my if I was going to put a rocket pack on someone, it would be Bron Breakker, because I think he could work either as a heel or a face. In my opinion, I would just have Bron Breakker as like a madman face, like sort of edgy baby face, and I would just let him be the next big star of the company because I think he's got everything. The other guy I would mention is Jacob Fatu. Those are your two succession options at the minute. And in terms of someone like in developmental, not in developmental, but I would bring Joe Hendry in full time for WWE. I mean, a lot. Obviously, they say they've got a relationship with TNA. I mean, I think it's fairly apparent that it's more than a relationship at this point. So, like when Cena goes, I would just have Joe Hendry as one of your biggest stars personally. But that's just my opinion. Could Messi go back to Barcelona with the relationship they had towards the end, Peter? It'd be nice to see him back. Don't get me wrong. Like that Barcelona squad. So I used to watch Barcelona with all the lads in Leeds, and we watched Premier League, and then La Liga would come on at 7 o'clock at night, and it would usually be Barcelona. And mate, honestly, that's the best football team that I have personally ever seen play. I saw AC Milan of 1994. Obviously, begrudgingly, I have to admit this, but the Man United treble side. I saw the Arsenal Invincibles. The very old school Bayern Munich team, blah, 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 blah. But that is the best team that I have ever seen play football. Pep Guardiola's Barcelona team with Lionel Messi. I mean, they were just sensational for about 2 or 3 years. Absolutely brilliant. So it'd be nice to see him back, but I wouldn't have thought so. Last one, Drew losing the title to Damian Priest in WrestleMania mistake. Last question. I'm 50-50, Peter, to be honest. I think it helped Damien, but subsequently, Damien was doing really well because I've got to be honest, mate, when he got the belt, I was like, why are you giving it to Damien Priest for? But fair play, he shut my mouth. He did a couple of really, really good performances, and then they put him with Rhea Ripley, so they did that Terror Twins thing, and they were really, really, really over. And then all of a sudden, it was just like, oh yeah, we're going to let Rhea go our separate ways, and Damien, we'll just ship Damien off to SmackDown. And I was like, well, why? People were enjoying that. That was, I don't know, but obviously they want Rhea to go for the women's world title, but it's like, well, surely you could still have them roughly together. I mean, it's not going to make it. Point is, I thought Rhea's presence was really helping Damien get over, and now he just seems to be floundering again. I mean, I would just turn Damien Priest heel, mate, to be honest, at the moment, just to reheat him. In terms of Drew, 50-50 again, because he went on to have the feud with Punk. Now, had put Drew at the end of last summer really over the top. I just think they kept him off TV for too long, mate, to be honest, because I'm sure he went off for a bit. Did he go off for about 3 months or something like that? And then he just randomly turned up back again, and the whole Punk thing was forgotten. And I'm like, well, are we at least not going to follow it up a little bit? No? Okay, fair enough. And then they've just brought him back again, and then they've got him in this random tag team match with this jelly roll person, who I've got to be honest, to any Americans watching this, I do apologise if I'm being rude. I've never heard of Jelly Roll before the last couple of weeks. I had no idea who the gentleman is. He seems like a nice enough bloke, fair enough, but like, yeah. I think Drew McIntyre is better than to answer your question, Peter. I think Drew McIntyre is better than being in a gimmick match, and this is a gimmick match, and I think it's going to be awful, to be honest. I hope I'm wrong. I really do hope I'm wrong. It's no offence to Jelly Roll. I'm sure he's trying his hardest and this, that, and the other, and WWE have to look for outside sponsorships and blah, blah, blah. But I have no hope or expectation for this match of any kind whatsoever, if I'm being honest. But yeah. Yeah, dude, thank you for the questions. Yeah. I hope you enjoy SummerSlam, Peter, if you are watching, and anyone else. Oh, last one. Who is your favourite UFC fighter? I can't see your name, mate, but if you're talking historically, randomly I used to like Forrest Griffin and Stephen Bonner. I don't know if you remember, but they did that Tough Enough fit. Was it called Tough Enough? What the hell was the reality TV UFC thing? where they had coaches and stuff, and then Forrest Griffin and Stephen Bonner came out of opposite camps, kind of thing, and they had this absolutely like mental match, right? Absolutely mental, where they were just beating the living crap out of each other, literally for 25 minutes. It's my favourite UFC match of all time. I absolutely loved it. I don't watch UFC as much as I used to, so I'd probably go with one of them. Obviously, Gracie. I've completely forgot his name. American, bald head, one of the greatest UFC fighters of all time. Randy Couture. Jesus Christ, I forgot that. Chuck Liddell. Obviously, I really liked back in the day as well. I never saw Kimbo, mate. Unfortunately, I think I saw him on a prelim once, but it was many, many, many years ago. And being British, obviously, I quite like Michael Bisping as well. I'm aware he's not obviously one of the greatest, but I do like Bisping because I think he's absolutely brilliant. So yeah, cool, nice one. Well, they started off as Alexander Isak. It's ended up with WWE and UFC, and this is why I like all my subscribers and people chatting to me, because we can just chat absolute like nonsense going from Alexander Isak. Yes, mate. Yes, I forgot about him. Yeah, thank you for letting me know. Yeah, Rampage Jackson. Yeah. I really liked him as well. He was awesome. Yeah, I really liked him as B.A. Brax as well, just to get a bit more weird. But yeah. Cool. Right, everyone. I'm going to head off. Thank you so much for chatting with me. I'll let you know if anything else happens with Alexander Isak. And like I said, keep an eye on the channel. If you're a Liverpool fan, there'll be loads of content coming up on Monday if the game does not get called off because of a storm. And I will let you know if I'm going to 2 games instead of 1. Yeah. Anyway, cool. Nice one. Right, folks, thank you very much for chatting with all of me. I really appreciate all of you. Genuinely, you've been awesome. Thanks very much. And I will see you, if you're doing live reaction, I will see you tomorrow night for late night for SummerSlam. Cool. Nice one. Announce Isak. See you later, guys.